It's swing, sing, and all that jazz. And here to give you the downbeat is Henry Holloway.
Thank you again, Marilyn, and hello again to you, dear listeners. Mostly vintage recordings today as we consider anniversaries referring to happenings of the past. First up, Woody Herman records Woodchopper's Ball on Decca 2440 in New York City on April 12, 1939. Woody and hornman Joe Bishop composed it, and the solos are by Woody, clarinet, Neil Reed, trombone, Saxy Mansfield, tenor sax, and Steady Nelson, muted trumpet. The Woodchopper's Ball, to give it its full and correct title, played by Woody Herman and his big band. It was, in fact, Woody's first hit and his most enduring one. Art van Dam, the jazz and swing accordionist, he was born in Norway, Michigan, on April 9th, 1920. Let's listen to the Art van Dam Quintet playing It's a Blue World, recorded in June 1970. The famous guitarist Joe Pass and vibraphonist Herbert Tusek join Mr. Van Dam in the front line. Ah yes, A Most Beautiful Blue World by the Art van Dam Quintet. On the 18th of April 1973, that marvelous stride pianist Willie the Lion Smith passed away in New York City, aged 75. Here's an example of Willie's brilliant, aggressive pianistics on his own composition, Contrary Motion. Contrary Motion, Willie the Lion Smith in New York City on the 2nd of February 1966. Now here's a birthday which I missed during my previous broadcast, so first a slap on my wrist and then make amends. Singer Stacey Kent was born on March 27th, year a secret, and place of birth, I think, New York City. Stacey certainly grew up in the Big Apple, but in the last number of years she's commuted between the USA and the UK. I've been fortunate to have received a number of CDs from Stacey, which of course makes it all the more difficult to choose a track to play. In the end, I played safe with the Gershwin Brothers classic, They All Laughed, recorded in 1998.
They all laughed at Christopher Columbus when he said the world was round. They all laughed when Edison recorded sound. They all laughed at Wilbur and his brother when they said that man could fly. They told Marconi wireless was a phony. It's the same old cry. They laughed at me wanting you. Said I was reaching for the moon, but all you came through. Now they'll have to change their tune. They all said we never could be happy. They laughed at us and how. But ho, 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 who's got the last laugh now? They all laughed at Rockefeller Center. Now they're fighting to get in. They all laughed at Whitney and his cotton gin. They all laughed at Fulton and his steamboat, Hershey and his chocolate bar. Ford and his Lizzie kept the levers busy. That's how people are. They laughed at me wanting you. Said it would be hello, goodbye, but all you came through. Now they're eating humble pie. They all said we'd never get together. Darling, let's take a bow. But ho, 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 who's got the last laugh now? Said we'd never get together. They laughed at us and how. But ho, 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 who's got the last laugh? He, he. Let's let the past laugh. Ha, 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 who's got the last laugh now?
Well done, Stacey Kent and pianist David Newton. Mind you, they did have very good material to work with, not so. Like Porter's lyrics on You're the Top, Ira Gershwin's words on They All Laughed must rate in the top 10 of all time. Cornetist King Oliver, real name Joseph, died on April 10, 1938 in Savannah, Georgia, aged 53. He was one of the New Orleans jazz pioneers, but probably attained his greatest fame when 18-year-old Louis Armstrong followed him to Chicago in 1922, and they began recording together in 1923. On Dipper Mouth Blues, composed by King Oliver and Louis Armstrong, and recorded on the 6th of April 1923, Oliver used a little tin mute and a plunger to get the unusual timbre on his solo, contrasting with Armstrong's robust open cornet. King Oliver's Creole Jazz Band playing Dipper Mouth Blues in 1923. Exactly 1 year after King Oliver had died, on the 10th of April 1939, Glenn Miller and his orchestra recorded Little Brown Jug, which turned out to be Glenn's first million seller, pipping his Moonlight Serenade, which had been recorded 6 days earlier, to the post. Bill Finnegan's delightful swinging arrangement allowed space for solos by Tex Beneke tenor sax, Mickey McMickle trumpet, and Glenn Miller himself on trombone, of course. And if Little Brown Jug was the first of Glenn's 19 million sellers, then the story pertaining to that little jug in the motion picture, The Glenn Miller Story, must be wrong. Oh well, que sera, sera. No, I'm not going to play you that Livingston and Evans Oscar winner, but I can tell you that Jay Livingston wrote a lovely sleeve note to the Stacey Kent album from which I played They All Laughed less than 10 minutes ago. And after that little bit of useless information, let's remember the birthday of tenor saxophonist Bud Freeman, born in Chicago, Illinois, on April 13th, 1906. He was featured by Tommy Dorsey and Benny Goodman, among many others, in a long career. My favorite Bud Freeman showcase comes on his own The Eel, with his own summa cum laude orchestra, which was actually an octet recorded in New York City on the 19th of July, 1939. A seamless, splendid display of tenor sax playing by Bud Freeman on his own The Eel. The other soloists were Max Kaminsky trumpet, Pee Wee Russell clarinet, and Dave Bowman piano. Now, the birthday on April 16th, 1924, in Cleveland, Ohio, of the legendary Henry Mancini. Composer, arranger, conductor, pianist, multiple Oscar and Grammy winner, orchestra leader, man for all musical seasons, husband of splendid singer Jenny O'Connor, father of outstanding singer Monica Mancini, etc., etc. I'm sure I've left lots out, but it'll give you some idea. And to think that Mr. Mancini had agreed to do a series with me, but sadly the Grim Reaper intervened. However, I treasure immensely his letter of agreement. 2 Mancini numbers now. The first one, which incidentally won an Academy Award in 1962 and a Grammy Award in 1963, The Days of Wine and Roses, is sung here by Henry's extremely talented daughter, Monica Mancini.
And you
Just beautiful. Monica Mancini, backed by a large orchestra conducted by Patrick Williams, recorded in the northern summer of 1998 in Capitol Studio A. The Days of Wine and Roses, composed by Henry Mancini with lyrics by Johnny Mercer. And now Mr. Mancini himself is ready to give the downbeat for his big band to play another of his many compositions, The Beat. Almost needless to say that Henry Mancini arranged it as well. I'm not sure about the saxophone solo, but I'm almost certain that Pete Condoli took the trumpet one. The bottom line, all Mancini magic. Oh, the recording date, February 1960. Henry Mancini and his orchestra in 1960 playing The Beat from the album The Blues and the Beat. Marvelous. Local content time now, starting with the Sessionaires in 1960. I haven't been able to verify it, but I suspect that the soprano sax work on Swinging Shepherd Blues here is by Art Heatley. Applause for the sessionaires in Johannesburg sometime in 1960. Swinging Shepherd Blues. Flippy Van Vieren and friends in the spotlight now, particularly Flippy on accordion and Johnny Fourie on guitar. They play Buck Ram and the Nevins Brothers' Twilight Time. Spot on for this time in the program in this autumn month, Twilight Time. Esther Miller was one of South Africa's best singers before she left for greener pastures. On this air check, Esther introduces fascinating rhythm before she and guitarist Johnny Fourie swings into it.
Right, Johnny and I are going to do a nice up-tempo tune called Fascinating Rhythm. got me on the go, fascinating rhythm. I'm all a quiver. What a mess you're making. The neighbors want to know why I'm always shaking just like a flivver. Each morning I get up with the sun to find each night no work has been done. Believe me, once it didn't matter. Now you're doing wrong when you start patter. I'm so unhappy. Won't you take a day off? Decide to run along somewhere far away off and make it snappy. Oh, how I long to be the gal I used to be. Fascinating rhythm, stop picking on me. Fascinating rhythm, got me on the go. Fascinating rhythm, I'm all a quiver. What a mess you're making. The neighbors want to know why I'm always shaking just like a flivver. Each morning I get up with the sun to find each night no work has been done. Believe me, once it didn't matter. Now you're doing wrong when you started patter. I'm so unhappy. Won't you take a day off? Decide to run along somewhere far away off and make it snappy. Oh, how I long to be the girl I used to be. Fascinating rhythm, fascinating rhythm, fascinating rhythm. Stop picking on me, picking on me, picking on me. Thank you. Thanks, Johnny.
And thank you, Esther Miller. And thanks to the Gershwin brothers for writing Fascinating Rhythm. Not quite dream time yet, but Roy Martin is in a hurry to see us in his dreams. I'll See You in My Dreams, which was written in 1924 by Isham Jones and Gus Kahn and played there by Roy Martin and his band in the 1960s. Bev Scott Brown is one of the better new kids on the block. Just listen to her singing I Believe in Miracles, composed by Bev herself, Clive Ridgway, and Tony Drake, who also plays keyboards on the album which contains this song.
I believe in miracles, I believe in new beginnings, strolling through the world each day, I count the signs along the way. I believe in miracles. I receive as I believe, I believe as I receive. I believe in miracles, I believe in magic moments, every second, every hour, life's for living, love's the power. I believe, yes I believe in miracles, seconds, every hour, life's for living, love's the power. I believe in miracles, endless possibilities, feel the changes happening, watch the winter turn to spring. I believe in miracles, see the changes happening, feel the winter turn to spring. To see, love is my philosophy. I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe, yes I believe in miracles. I believe as I receive. I receive as I believe. Every second, every hour, life's living, love's the power. I believe in miracles. See the changes happening. Oh, I believe in miracles.
I Believe in Miracles, sings Bev Scott Brown. And I believe in them as well, Bev. Let's have a cocktail with Professor Dan Barnard and his keyboard now. Dan plays a Jan Poel composition which aptly describes this time of the early evening, S'avonds. Jan Barnard's keyboard and Jan Poel's salvins. We close with an anniversary. On the 21st of April, 1980-something, composer-arranger Eddie Sauter died, aged about 70. He worked with most of the great bands and co-led later the Sauter-Finnegan Orchestra. Let's feature Benny Goodman's clarinet and band playing Eddie Sauter's clarinet a la King in 1941. And so we close with love. Just enough time to wish you well. God willing, I'll be back with you in 2 weeks' time. Goodbye.
Swing, Sing and All That Jazz was compiled and presented by Henry Holloway. Henry Holloway's autobiography, titled Swing, Sing and All That Jazz, is due to be published in America by Trafford Publishers and will be available on Amazon.com and at Barnes & Noble bookstores. It tells the story of a unique South African who rose from humble beginnings to become one of only 2 non-Americans in history who has been honoured with America's prestigious Golden Bandstand Award, joining Frank Sinatra, Glenn Miller, Benny Goodman, and 50 other American music legends. This 700-page book tells Henry Holloway's remarkable story and contains more than 500 images of photographs, articles, and letters. Contact Trafford Publishers in Bloomington, Indiana.